Chinese DNA.
Blue Bloods returns CBS this fall. All seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Sun worshippers, Tuesday is your day. I'll show you when clouds clear along with those sunburn times. Live from downtown Marquette, it's your 19 News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Blakely. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, a jury is selected in Hunter Biden's trial on charges he purchased and possessed firearms while using drugs. Details from the first day in the courtroom. Plus, a law office in Southfield, Michigan is vandalized and it's being investigated as a hate crime. We'll tell you why. And this week is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We'll show you how some veterans are marking the occasion. Your 19 News starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19.
Still cloudy and kind of cool out there tonight. Do we have any more rain on the way, Air?
We're going to see that rain slow down tonight. Some of us could have some sprinkles. Overall, though, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies, and again, that rain definitely taking a break as well. Current temperatures, we're still in the 60s, a little bit warmer up there in Houghton, and the winds are calm, so that's good news, but it is going to kick up tomorrow just a little bit. So as you can see, the past couple of hours, we've had some scattered showers in the central locations, but primarily over there in the east, and then we will dry out for a little bit. But I will have that outlook for your commutes tomorrow, as well as that patchy fog that we're expecting.
Thanks, Air. New at 11, 6 men and 6 women have been seated in the first criminal trial for a child of a sitting U.S. president. Hunter Biden's mother, First Lady Jill Biden, watched from the courtroom's front row in a show of support for her son. The jurors in the federal firearms case were selected after lawyers on both sides questioned them about their views on gun rights, addiction, and politics. Erica Brown reports from Wilmington, Delaware.
With the jury seated, opening statements are set to begin Tuesday in the federal firearms trial of Hunter Biden in Wilmington, Delaware. President Biden's son is accused of lying on federal gun purchase forms when he said he wasn't a drug addict. He has pleaded not guilty and says he's being unfairly targeted by the Justice Department. The case went to trial after the collapse last year of a plea deal.
It blew up at the last minute. It was Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown when everyone thought it was about to be sealed, done, and delivered, and it wasn't. And they were back to square one.
The 3 felony charges against Hunter Biden stem from a 2018 firearm purchase when he was, according to his memoir, addicted to crack. He is accused of lying to a federally licensed gun dealer, making a false claim on the application by saying he was not a drug user, and illegally having the gun for 11 days. In a statement Monday, President Biden said as president, he won't comment on pending federal cases, but gave his support. I have boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength, President Biden said. Our family has been through a lot together, and Jill and I are going to continue to be there for Hunter and our family with our love and support.
Hunter Biden faces up to 25 years in prison if he's convicted. However, first-time offenders generally get much shorter terms. It's unclear whether the judge would give him time behind bars. A hate crime investigation is underway in Southfield after a group of people allegedly vandalized a law office early this morning. Many of the messages spray painted along the building echo demands from pro-Palestinian protesters that are growing by the week. Zach Springate has the details.
Even though one of the named partners for Goodman and Acker is a University of Michigan regent, he says this act of vandalism has more to do with his faith than his decision-making power with the school.
Surveillance video from the Southfield Police Department shows it only took this group 7 minutes to get their message across, arriving at Jordan Acker's business shortly after 1:30 a.m. Monday morning. The University of Michigan regent is no stranger to confrontations from pro-Palestinian protesters, but he says this act crosses the line into criminal territory.
I was not targeted here today because I am a regent. I am targeted for this because I am Jewish. This neighborhood is Jewish, and because some people, under the pretext of helping Palestinians, feel the obligation to single out Jews.
Acker was not alone in calling the vandalism an escalation to previous attempts from protesters to urge the U of M regents to divest from companies they claim are benefiting off the Israel-Hamas war.
This is a crime. They can make statements, they can protest in front of the building and walk down the sidewalk, they can have their signs, they can do everything that the Constitution allows, but they can't do this.
We stand with our community, particularly our Jewish community, against this sort of violence, this kind of terrorism. This is not acceptable.
While the messages spray painted on the law offices remains consistent with demands Acker heard from protesters for several weeks, he considers the method to be intimidation. For that, he plans on meeting those responsible with a much more severe response than those who protested outside his home back in May.
Police say this is being investigated as a hate crime, and those speaking at the podium emphasize the need for people who've seen something to speak up as this investigation continues. Reporting in Southfield, I'm Jack Springate, CBS News, Detroit.
Escanaba City residents will soon see some increases on their utility bills. Today, the City Council approved a 4% increase for wastewater rates and an 8% increase for water rates. The water increase is largely due to upcoming system needs and efforts to implement a second operational clear well at the plant. With Escanaba receiving a large amount of grant funding for that project, the city manager says the utility increases should eliminate the need for larger ones in the future.
And where our rates are too against other communities, we're kind of in the middle of the pack. It's a tough pill to swallow, but hopefully long term we could have some of the lowest rates in the UP for a long time if we can put our money to work today.
Electric rates will also increase by 2.75%, but the city's solid waste and recycling rates will not increase. This week marks the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, a turning point in World War II that helped bring victory to the Allies in Europe. American paratroopers played a key role in the assault, and 80 years ago, they were getting ready for the most consequential mission of their lives. Now a group of congressmen is preparing to honor their sacrifice in a high-flying way. Ed O'Keefe is at the World War II Memorial in Washington with their story.
Plunging from planes, under fire from below. Thousands of American paratroopers took the fateful jump over Normandy 80 years ago this week.
Every fifth man is a casualty, but they accomplished their objective.
Landing behind enemy lines to begin the long march to victory.
It is hallowed ground, there's no doubt about that.
Democratic Congressman Jason Crow and Republican Congressman Mike Waltz have some practice making this leap.
Airborne!
Both veterans themselves. Waltz served as an Army Green Beret and Crow an Army Ranger. They took a similar jump for the 75th anniversary.
You know, we may not always agree, but we have a common bond. That bond of military service, of brotherhood and sisterhood transcends party affiliation.
It's important for Americans to see us coming together. And look, we set the political party stuff aside. That stops at the ocean's edge.
Yeah, why is it relevant to do this on the 80th anniversary?
This will likely be the last large anniversary where we have some of the veterans actually joining us. So we want to show our appreciation to them specifically.
More than half a dozen fellow veterans in Congress will also be joining the jump. Some of them took a practice plunge in April to knock off the rust, which required a few reassurances about their day job.
When Speaker Johnson found out, he reminded us, said, Mike, you know we only have a one-seat majority.
Right.
And I said, well, Mr. Speaker, the plane is vintage, the uniforms are vintage, but the parachutes are new, so don't worry.
Later this week, they'll drop from the actual C-47 that led the invasion fleet on D-Day.
Biggest misperception of jumping out of a plane is what?
That it's fun.
The Army tends to pull the fun out of everything, right? You hit like a ton of bricks.
But worth it. Honor those who gave so much for freedom, especially as authoritarianism is once again on the rise in Europe.
This is important to keep their story alive, for us to honor them as veterans and as Americans.
The legacy of the greatest generation is secure. They did their job. When history came calling to that generation, they answered, and they made their sacrifices, and they did what they needed to do. Now it's on us.
Fewer than 1% of Americans who served in World War II are still alive today, with the youngest now in their 90s. But that doesn't mean they're staying stateside. American Airlines sponsored a flight for more than 60 vets to make the trip to Normandy, and they arrived there over the weekend. Your first warning weather forecast is coming up after this break, plus a record-breaking year for the annual Iron Range Roll Bike Race in Marquette County over the weekend. We'll tell you how many people participated this year. And a nationwide slump in bike sales after a spike during the pandemic. We'll have that report. We're back in 2 minutes.
I'm Rachel Knapp. Watch my reports live from Washington, only on 19 News. What's happening in Washington affects you directly here in the Upper Peninsula. I'm Rachel Knapp.
And I'm Brendan Scanlon. We track the issues and positions of the elected lawmakers you send to Washington.
We're on Capitol Hill every day reporting on what you care about most.
Education, your money, student loans, health care, safety, and privacy.
Coverage you can count on live from our bureau in America's capital.
Only here on WZMQ 19 News.
Buckles Party Store, it's where the party starts in Calumet, with an awesome beer selection featuring domestic, foreign, and craft brew beer, a great selection of wine, just about any kind of liquor you want, and a great range of tobacco products. Buckles Party Store in Calumet, it's where the party starts for everyone.
19 News is brought to you by Kirkish Furniture.
John's Auto is still your #1 source for a pre-owned vehicle. Our standards are still the highest. We have the cleanest hand-picked inventory around. That's what we're known for.
John's has built a legacy over the years, if you will, and for us to be able to jump into the service industry, the detailing industry, we provide quality service, timely, reliable, trustworthy, just like John's has for years in car sales.
Come on down to John's Auto and see what we're all about. Sales, service, and detailing.
This week,
yeah, he's guilty.
Colbert's back with Alicia Keys, John Bon Jovi, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. New this week on CBS.
The UP's show for family fun. Join me for Pictionary here on WZMQ TV 19.
Get ready for a brand new season of Collector's Call with all new collections.
Collector's Call, Sundays at 6:30 on MeTV 19.1. Now, award-winning WZMQ 19 First Warning Weather with Air Stasic.
All right, let's look at some headlines and when they're happening this week. Patchy fog, that's tonight and to your Tuesday morning. So just a heads up, make sure you've got those low beams ready to go. And then possible thunderstorms, just a slight chance this evening. Tuesday, we could see some, most likely though in the afternoon or early evening hours. But Wednesday is looking very spicy with that thunderstorm possibilities. And then sunshine, mostly sunshine. We could see that on Thursday, but more likely on Saturday through Monday. So just be aware of that. If you like jumping in the puddles or getting mud medals, this is your week. All right, so I mentioned that patchy fog tomorrow for that morning commute, and then in the evening, we could see those showers mostly in the west. The east half is gonna stay a little bit drier until the later evening hours, but I will time it out for you with Futurecast. And yes, it is back, the M word, muggy. All right, here in Marquette, we could feel very humid tomorrow. I know it's been a hot minute since that has happened, and then no worries, we'll dip back down, so we're just dipping our toes in, so to speak, but it shouldn't be too bad. But just keep that in mind in your afternoon in case you want to head indoors and get out of that sunshine. So showers primarily over here in the east half for the past couple of hours this evening. And taking a look at current conditions, most sprinkles are over there on Lake Michigan and downstate as well. And then just a reminder, we've got that flood watch in northern Wisconsin, so possibly affecting those in that county of Gogebic, and that actually starts on Tuesday going into Wednesday afternoon Central Time there. So just keep that in mind, especially if you are traveling in that direction. Okay, so some showers possible again this evening on that northwest coast, but overall that should clear out. In the morning, we will see a few sprinkles here and there, primarily in the central locations, and then we'll be sunny until about 5 p.m. on that Wisconsin border, when we could see some possible thunderstorms making their way north. And then taking a look, though, the rest of the Upper Peninsula staying fairly dry till about 7 o'clock, when Marquette County could be seeing some showers, maybe even a thunderstorm. But overall, it should be fairly dry on the east side for the evening. And then Wednesday morning, check check out these punchy conditions, as we're going to see a lot of orange and red, which mean that heavier rain precipitation and likely thunderstorms making their way. So by 9 a.m., most of the nose seeing a lot of that activity. 1 p.m. lunchtime arriving here in the central locations and then heading over to the east side. My goodness, check that out. Mackinac and Luce counties. It is going to be quite an adventure for you on that Wednesday evening. But I will tell you what else is happening this week with your 7-day in about 15.
Thanks, Eric. The Iron Mountain Farmers Market kicked off its 2024 season this weekend. The market opened Saturday with some returning favorites like Wilson's Creek offering fresh eggs and locally raised meats. Headmark's Maple Ridge celebrates 18 years at the market. Pleasant View Orchard is offering baked goods and apple chips. And some newcomers included a Philippine cuisine booth, dopamine dressing with handmade crafts, and Daisy's Garden with indoor plants.
I'm offering plant starters and cute vases with little flowers in them. Just plants to brighten your place up, make everything look better. They're all indoor. I'm a pet-friendly place, and if you have a furry friend, please bring them by, and I love animals.
The Iron Mountain Farmers Market is open in the downtown plaza every Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon Central Time. When school lets out for the summer, local libraries have summer reading programs to keep your kids on track. The Negaunee Public Library Summer Reading Program is back for another year. It's for ages 3 and up, and when you sign up, you can get a free book and a coloring kit. The library is also encouraging adults to sign up. All kids who complete their reading goal will win a prize, while adults enter into a raffle to win a prize pack that includes gift cards from local businesses.
Help us as well with donating prizes for the kids, for the teens, for the adults as well. And I'm also encouraging fellow city employees to hopefully get involved with summer reading as well this year.
That program runs from today until July 27th. You can sign up in person or online. We've got the details at WZMQ19.com. An annual friendly bike race took place this past weekend across Marquette County. The 11th annual Iron Range Roll Bike Race had a record-breaking year. 317 riders started at the Cliffshaft Mine Museum in Ishpeming and ended at Barrel and Beam in Marquette Township, where there were awards and an after party. The bike race was started as a way to support the youth and the local YMCA. Iron Range Roll Race Chair says they have continued to raise money every year.
Over the past few years, it's been very successful for us, so we plan to continue to do it in the future and hope to expand our donations to the different youth programs and groups that provide them.
This year and last year, the Iron Range Roll Race raised $10,000 for the YMCA of Marquette County Youth Program. During the pandemic, millions of Americans got out of the house by going for a bike ride, and at the time, bicycle sales went into high gear. Since then, though, it's been a bumpy ride for the industry. Danya Backus has the report.
The past 4 years have been a rough road for Douglas Emerson, who owns University Bicycles in Boulder, Colorado.
We're back at 2019 pre-pandemic numbers. It's been a struggle, but we're there.
When the pandemic hit, many cooped-up Americans turned to bike riding as an escape, and sales skyrocketed.
The pandemic, although it was awful for our global crisis, did provide the bicycle industry a much-needed boom, brought over 8 million new riders to our sport.
But overwhelming demand led to a supply chain crunch.
I mean, we sold everything, and then we couldn't get anything.
By the time supplies got back to normal, many people returned to their normal lives and demand dropped. In 2023, bike sales fell 24% compared to 2020.
Now we're battling something that's completely different, and that's a lack of ridership.
Now there's too much inventory, and the prices are being slashed. It's a great time to buy a bike. The margins have shrunk for the dealers, so small bike shops are really struggling.
That struggle includes trying to find enough workers.
Mechanics, young people today growing up in a throwaway society don't grow up taking things apart, putting them back together, so to find good mechanics is a challenge.
Emerson and other shop owners are seeing growing interest in e-bikes, which gives riders an electric assist when needed. It's hoped the bicycles can also give the industry a much-needed boost.
Still ahead tonight, a Lower Michigan municipality is pumping the brakes on more cannabis retailers. An in-depth look at Michigan's marijuana industry and a Berrien County Township's moratorium.
Get an 11% rebate on everything at Menards. Indoor-outdoor carpet is stain-resistant and easy to install, making it the perfect choice for decks, patios, or sunrooms. Status indoor-outdoor carpet is only 49 cents per square foot after rebate. Let the fresh air into your home with a Larson Storm Door. This split-view storm door lets in natural light while providing easy ventilation. Get it for $344.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
New to Medicare? Recently moved or losing coverage? Then let us help break it down for you. First up, we have Medicare Part A. Consider your hospital insurance as your safety net, covering inpatient hospital stays, skilled nursing facilities, hospice care, and some home health care. And now let's talk about Medicare Part B, your medical insurance. Review your Medicare coverage options, ensuring it aligns with your evolving healthcare needs, from flu shots to screenings.
Call 800-208-7175.
Getting ready, we all have our routine. Finding an outfit. Fixing your hair. And all the other little touches. Gum, check. Keys, check. Phone, check. But of all the things you remember to bring with you, naloxone could be the most important. It can reverse an opioid overdose. You can get it without a prescription in most states, and it's really easy to use. If you or someone you know is at risk for opioid overdose, naloxone could save their life. Keep it on you and at home. For more information about naloxone, visit cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local with Sarah Blakely.
Marijuana sales in Michigan are raking in hundreds of millions of dollars last year in tax revenue, and communities are still looking to cash in. Dozens of new applications for dispensaries have flooded New Buffalo Township in Berrien County in recent months. Aaron Leedy has more on where things stand on a new moratorium the township recently put into place.
It seems a lot of Michiganders love marijuana no matter which part of the state they call home.
Rich people, poor people, white people, black people, inner city, country boys. Everybody likes it.
And Steve Azell says he knows one thing's for sure, it's here to stay. His marijuana store in Interlochen is one of close to 800 retailers currently operating in Michigan, collectively bringing in $269 million in excise tax revenue last year. The state Treasury Department says by comparison, $186 million was collected in 2022, a 44% growth in 1 year. An analysis by Lending Tree released this month ranks Michigan fourth nationally out of states where cannabis is legal for having the biggest change in tax revenue, with Missouri, New York, and Louisiana rounding out the top three.
Just the amount of money that is pouring into state governments as a result of that is pretty eye-opening.
Michigan's marijuana tax revenue is split into thirds between K through 12 education, transportation, and the rest being paid out to cities and towns, a flat fee for every licensed retail store or microbusiness in their jurisdiction. More than $87 million was paid out this year to 269 municipalities from the state's Marijuana Regulation Fund for fiscal year 2023.
Right now it's close to $59,000 a year you receive per dispensary, and it's not dependent on sales, it's just if they're open or not.
New Buffalo Township hasn't received its payout per dispensary from the state yet, since its handful of cannabis businesses only recently opened. Township Supervisor Michelle Height says the township eventually plans to use that money for roads and to help pay for code enforcement. They've been inundated with special land use permit applications from new dispensaries wanting to open up. So much so, the township issued in March a one-year moratorium and stopped accepting new applications. Height says about 50 applications are currently in for review.
Whether those will all come to the Planning Commission, I don't know. They have until June 3rd to have a complete application in.
She says it could take an overwhelmed planning commission months to catch up on those, possibly followed up by a discussion on changing the township's marijuana ordinance. A few miles down the road, New Buffalo City Mayor John Humphrey is skeptical that the township, a community according to the U.S. Census with a population of about 2,500 people, could support potentially dozens more dispensaries.
This isn't going to last forever because you can't have that many of anything in one place. The dollars won't support it.
Humphrey says the influx of customers to the already open dispensaries, a fair share traveling from out of state, has led to more marijuana use on the city's public beach and already prompting a change in policy to start locking the beach's gates at night.
We've already had mass complaints about open marijuana use at our beach, more so than ever. I mean, you have to, you can say it's an anomaly, but I'm a pragmatic guy. There's no coincidence. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
He's also worried about what potentially dozens of new dispensaries in the township can mean for the city's tourism-related jobs.
And then you start to talk about the employment ramifications of all these places opening, offering higher wages. That's completely taking the problems we already have with getting employees for the service industry.
Increased traffic near the dispensaries has also been a concern for township residents. Thomas Levine is with the Cannabis Council law firm in Detroit, handling only cannabis-related cases like business and real estate disputes for growers and dispensaries, among several other issues. He thinks more dispensaries will continue to open up across the state.
There are still areas where there's, you got to go 100 miles to get to a dispensary. The free market is the way our economy works, and I think, to a certain extent, we should allow that to happen.
Dispensaries in New Buffalo Township, for example, can only be located within one of 3 designated marijuana overlay districts. Areas Height says were chosen to drive development. But as more want to open across Michigan, some have closed. MLive.com reported last December that close to 14% of Michigan's marijuana retailers, about 125 of them, have closed or not renewed licenses since December of 2019, with many leaving behind unpaid debts. Levine says the taxes on cannabis products in Michigan are lower by design, meant to drive out the illegal market. And as long as neighboring states have varying tax rates on cannabis products, the battle for business, especially near state lines, will rage on.
It sort of becomes a matter of economics. Of course, those existing businesses are going to want to limit the number to increase their own revenue.
Levine says despite individual municipalities installing a moratorium, he doesn't foresee any kind of statewide moratorium in the works. We've got a little bit of rain, just some light sprinkles across the UP overnight, and that could carry over into our Tuesday morning. And then we've got a little sunshine before more rain hits us. Air has the outlook on the way. And a musical donation in Delta County. That's our final story after this.
Sleep better with a new mattress from Kirkish Furniture. We proudly feature made in the Midwest Restonic mattresses. Try one out today and compare other major brands. Let our sleep specialists help you find the bed of your dreams at Kirkish Furniture.
Are you ready?
It's coming.
I say, are you ready?
The UP State Fair.
Are you ready?
Beginning August 12th.
I say, are you ready?
Be ready for the fun and excitement of the 2024 UP State Fair. Opening night, this year's queen is crowned. Wednesday night, August 14th, it's Tracy Bird in concert. Friday, August 16th is Women's Day and Men's Night. Tickets available at upstatefair.org. WZMQ TV 19. Proud to be a reserved champion sponsor of the fair. Be ready for the fair, beginning August 12th in Escanaba.
This week,
yeah, he's guilty.
Colbert's back with Alicia Keys, John Bon Jovi, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. New this week on CBS.
I thought it was just a rash, but it had a bullseye ring around it. My doctor said it was a tick bite. Luckily, we caught it early.
Ticks found in tall grass around your home can spread Lyme disease and other illnesses, which can lead to chronic health issues. The CDC estimates nearly 500,000 people across the country are diagnosed with Lyme disease each year.
I didn't understand why my brother was having so many asthma flare-ups. Sometimes he couldn't breathe. Turns out a roach problem at home was triggering it.
Allergens left behind by dust mites, roaches, and rodents are a major driver of asthma attacks, especially in children.
When I had a fever, body aches, and fatigue, I never thought it would have been West Nile virus. All it took was a mosquito bite while gardening.
Mosquitoes spread West Nile virus and many other diseases, and they can breed in standing water around your home. Protect your family from pests. Get the facts at pestworld.org.
I'm Sophia Murphy at the Capitol in Lansing, only on WZMQ 19 News.
Current temperatures in the 60s. Those winds are fairly calm, and we've got cloudy conditions. A little bit of light rain over on the far east, and then I mentioned fog this evening into that morning commute. My goodness, most of the west half covered in fog till about 11 o'clock in the morning. Could hang out even longer, of course, over there in St. Ignace. And yes, it's the planetary parade that actually started today. And although we've got 6 planets that will be lining up and are supposedly visible to the naked eye, you'll likely want to get out some high power hello, help me out, Sarah. Binoculars and a telescope. There we go. It's been a long day, my friends. But you'll likely be able to see Mars for sure, and possibly Jupiter. The others could be a little too faint for those naked eyes. And your best chances are going to be Thursday morning. Unfortunately, we've got fog tomorrow, and then chances of showers and thunderstorms on the next day, Thursday. Sunday, we've got mostly sunny skies for that Kiwanis barbecue, and those temperatures in the 60s. And then our 7-day outlook for Marquette. It's a little wet for this week, but you'll be fine.
Finally tonight, a Delta County organization is raising their voices and money for worthy causes. The Remnants Barbershop Chorus performs at local events throughout the community. At this year's spring concert, the group raised $500, and tonight they donated that money to the Tri-County Safe Harbor, which provides shelter, advocacy, and other services to victims of sexual assault, stalking, and domestic violence.
It's a very warming feeling. We're grant funded, but the grants do not cover everything, so it is important that we get local funds. They are a wonderful organization.
It's our neighbors that keep us going. It's our neighbors that we love to provide our service to, and it's our neighbors that support us. I'm glad to be a part of the Barbershoppers to make an impact in my community.
The Remnants Barbershop Chorus encourages men of any age interested in preserving the art of barbershop to attend one of their rehearsals at 7 p.m. Mondays at the Escanaba Civic Center. We'll see.
Hard work is part of life in the UP. And no matter the challenge, people here just get it done. Our job is to find the facts you need and deliver them fairly and accurately. Because we understand that trust is in short supply. That's when experience matters. Sarah Blakely, leading the